Hey everyone, it's Tank Top Tech. In this episode, I'm going to be taking a look at this Xbox One controller, and if I can get it working again, I'm going to be sending it off to my brother in Banff. This is GamepadTester.com. All you do is you plug your controller into your computer, and this website here will be able to tell you if any of your buttons are not working properly. So far on this controller, it's actually not bad. Everything seems to be working okay, except for the right bumper. That's the only one that doesn't work, and my B button does feel a little off. It doesn't feel like the other buttons. It feels a bit more clicky, so I'll have to take a look at that as well. But for right now, RB and the B button. We'll see if there's anything else wrong with it on the inside. This video is a little different this time, just because I'm trying something new. Everything was done without the mic in front of me this time around, and then I'm going back over it when I'm editing to do the voiceover and explain what I'm doing. I'm just trying to find like what works best for me in between like working and editing. Just just a little test, see how it fits. But all I'm doing here is taking the screws out, taking the cover off, and getting into the meat of this controller. I think that most of the times when I'm doing things, it's pretty self-explanatory what's going on. But the voiceover never helps, never doesn't help. Yeah, let's go with that. Some of the screws are a little finicky on this. I had to get like an extendo-matic arm to get into some of the smaller or longer holes, I guess you'd say. Yeah, not bad. It's only Phillips head screws. There's no special Y wings or anything like that in this time. You see the nice close up of the board here. I'm pointing at some white stuff on the board. Kind of looks like corrosion or something like that. It's actually not. It's left over from the manufacturing process. I think it's what they use as their flux, and they just leave it on the board and don't get rid of it. So if you open up your own controller and see that, it's not harmful. You can clean it off if you want, or you can just leave it. It's not going to hurt the board in any way. Right here is two clips that hold the D-pad against the board. So if you have a problem with your D-pad and you need to get the D-pad off, you'd have to go around the back there with some tweezers or just your fingers and clip that off. Not clip it off, but press them together so it comes off. This board was rather nicely secured into the chassis, just by the friction fit because all the screws are out. The only thing really keeping it in there was its attachment to the daughter board. So they have a daughter board that deals with the Y button, the Xbox logo button, and a little LED that lights it up. I don't know why. I mean, just get into the mind of an engineer, I guess, and they'll tell you why. I don't know. So it was a little difficult to get out. All I did was push on thumbsticks with a good enough amount of force, and eventually the pins that were holding it to the daughter board, they came loose, and I was able to get the main board out. The daughter board was held in just by three little screws. It wasn't too bad, but the entire bumper assembly was really well friction fit inside of the rest of the housing. Because I didn't have the microphone anywhere near the desk when I was doing this, you're not going to hear any like sounds of, you know, ceramic on plastic or metal on plastic. That was my mistake. Next time I'll know to put it back in there and just not talk. Here I'm getting a close up of what's actually wrong with the right bumper. As you can see, somebody ham fisted the right bumper down and actually broke the arm that presses the button that says, "Hey, it's an RB press." So somebody was a little bit too aggressive with it and broke it. Maybe some gamer rage, threw the controller on the ground, something like that. The rest of it works fine. So, I mean, surprising that that's the only thing that's broken. Tells me that probably a kid had it. So how do we fix this? Just some nice super glue. It's a God's gift to mankind. Just a little bit, and then I hold it on place until it's ready to be, set. If I end up doing another fix like this, I probably won't be using regular super glue. I'll either get some of that UV stuff that you can, hit it with a splashy UV light and then it solidifies immediately, or maybe some 5-minute epoxy, something like that. Something just a bit stronger. I wasn't really happy with how I had to super glue it. What it ended up doing is taking a lot of super glue and then kind of encasing the whole arm, so that way there's a support up and down while it's still able to move around. I'm just starting to put it back together here. Before I started doing this, I did clean everything. So all the buttons, all the bumpers, all the pads, all like that got cleaned. Don't think I'm giving my brother a nasty, gross controller. I just didn't put it in because most of it was either really out of focus or really out of frame. So, I mean, why put it in there if you're just going to be staring at the mat all day? Putting it back together wasn't too bad. The boards kind of clipped back into place and the joysticks fell right into the holes, no problem. The only thing that really gave me trouble was the whole back plane of the controller. That needed like multiple clips to be done in a certain order. I just kind of ham-fisted it on until I was able to get it. You don't see me putting back on the top bumper assembly because I kind of had to lean into that and really force it on, so I have no footage of it anyways. But I mean, other than that, the thing goes on nicely and nothing really to complain about. Always the nice 35 seconds of silence. I'll try to find some like royalty free music, maybe throw it in there, make it as cheesy as possible. Or I'll just bring the mic close next time and then you'll actually be able to hear the snips and the snaps going on in the video. I mean, I messed up. I didn't have the camera. I didn't have the mic, sorry, close enough to the board. So whatever. I mean, learning experience. Like I said, stay with me. I'll get better. I'll learn. Part of being in good tech is learning from your mistakes and then taking that knowledge and bringing it on to the next thing or sending it off to the next person so that way they don't make the same mistakes that you did. All right, so here we are back on the gamepad tester, and we're going to see if our little fix worked. Ooh, look at that. She's going off. Perfect. So then everything else is working just fine. I couldn't find anything that was actually wrong with the B button. It just sounds weird. Just one of those ones. But other than that, this controller is 100% serviceable again. Okay, so this thing works just as it should now. All it's left for me to do is to pack it up and send it off to my brother. Thanks for watching, everyone.